Hey folks, and welcome to Truck King. Today I'm coming at you from behind the wheel of a Ford Maverick Hybrid, and my wife Heather and I are just almost home from a roughly 1,600 kilometer road trip. So I'm going to tell you exactly how the Maverick handled on this road trip, and then maybe most importantly, talk to you about the fuel economy out of this hybrid. So this road trip took us from Barrie, Ontario to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, over for a pit stop in Detroit, and then back. So we basically did a big circle all the way around Lake Erie. And I was in Detroit for a Ford event to learn about the new Ranger, which you guys have already seen now. So I figured what better product to drive than the Ford Maverick. And when they told me they had a hybrid on fleet, I knew that was perfect because we'd save a couple bucks on gas. So of course, when we left, I zeroed out the trip. So we are going to tell you the fuel economy, but not until we're done. We're not quite there yet, and then I'll reveal how good the fuel economy has been. But outside of that, let's talk about how the Maverick has been driving on this long road trip. So I mentioned it's just my wife and I, just two of us. We've only been gone for 3 days, so we didn't need a ton of gear, but that back seat is plenty big and a bit of a mess right now, but plenty big for all of our stuff, no problem at all. And the point that I always come back to is it's a little bit bigger than the current Ranger, and that's sort of a funny thing is you think smaller truck, you're gonna get a smaller cab, but that's not what Ford did. The Maverick, after being in it now for a couple days, it just constantly feels big on the inside. It doesn't feel like a tight little tiny truck, even though it kind of looks that way from the exterior. So I'll give the designers credit that I think they took a lot of time to make sure that even big people are not gonna get in here and feel cramped, even when you got a bunch of stuff. So size-wise, comfort-wise, it's been really good. Now, speaking on the powertrain, I do want to talk about the power. Of course, if you really want max horsepower, you're going to get the 2-liter EcoBoost, but I honestly have no issue with the power out of this hybrid. We are using a CVT here. It's an eCVT, and there is some typical CVT qualities. You do put your foot into it, and the revs shoot up, and then the speed kind of follows. But it's been plenty quick, merging onto highways, onto interstates, scooting around town. I think that some people might have been sort of hesitant to go for the hybrid because you're giving up all the power compared to the 2-liter. But after my time with it, I have no issue with it whatsoever. And of course, I will also remind you, when you go hybrid, this is front-wheel drive only. So if all-wheel drive is absolutely a must for you, you got to get the bigger engine. But if you can live without all-wheel drive, and frankly I think most of us can, even in the winter with good snow tires, this setup is going to return much better fuel economy than that bigger engine and all-wheel drive. Now, the other area that this truck is a little bit neutered is in towing. If you want the 4K towing package, you have to step up to the EcoBoost and all-wheel drive. This truck's only good for 2,000 pounds, so, you know, a small fishing boat, a Sea-Doo, something like that, you're still gonna be okay here. But if you do wanna push your Maverick a little bit, do something like a small travel trailer, that will also force you into that other powertrain. So you do have to look at how you're gonna use the truck as to, you know, which powertrain you're gonna go for. But again, I don't think you're giving up that much, especially in day-to-day driving, going for the hybrid. Now, the other thing I want to mention is the truck I'm in here is a Lariat hybrid. And when the Maverick launched in Canada, we could only get the hybrid on the XL and the XLT. So I remember complaining about that at the time, being like, well, what if I do want a luxury hybrid? And honestly, I think more than anything, it was just availability. I don't think they had a lot of these hybrids kind of ready for us. So the first round of them all went to the States. It's fairly typical, and then in the second model year, they've now brought the wider range of hybrids up to Canada. So nice to be able to get the Lariat hybrid. And yeah, it's the Lariat, so we get nice leather seats. I have all the features here: wireless charging for my phone, adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist. So the technology is absolutely here, and it's nice to be able to save money at the pump while also getting the most luxurious version of the truck. So I appreciate that for all my Canadians, that we now have more choice. So as you've heard, the truck has been excellent on this road trip. And if you are asking yourself, well, why did they even go to Pittsburgh? We went down with thousands of other Canadians for the Toronto Blue Jays game. They were playing at PNC Park versus the Pittsburgh Pirates. So it was a fun series to take in. PNC Park is gorgeous. If you're a baseball fan, you definitely want to go there. And it didn't hurt that the Blue Jays swept the Pirates. So yes, the truck's been amazing. I do have one complaint though, and it is just wind noise. It's kind of a noisy vehicle. I thought maybe in the Lariat they might do a little bit more for road noise, but I just have to say that I'm noticing, again, these are the things you notice on a road trip because you're just in here for so long. But I feel like I'm always turning up the stereo a little louder than I want to be able to hear my baseball talk radio, and that's mostly because there's just quite a bit of wind noise coming in here. And I think I'll contrast it to today's half tons. An F-150, a Ram 1500, a Chevy Silverado, they are quieter than this, no doubt about it. Now the last thought I'll leave you with, and this is something I think we've said in almost all the Maverick videos we've done, Ford created its own problem by making its trucks so big, and then it solved the problem with the Maverick, and the sales have been strong. Everyone we talk to says they're impossible to find because these things have been so hot, and that tells us that there's going to be more competitors in this segment soon. So kudos to Ford. They are riding a wave right now, and they're absolutely capitalizing with all these early sales on these small trucks. But I don't think it will be long before we see a compact Ram and maybe a compact Chevy, heck, maybe even a compact Toyota join this segment, because the Maverick is just proving the point that, in fact, people do want small trucks. So we're on the 401. We're almost back to where we have to drop the truck off. As soon as we get there, I will let you guys know what the fuel economy was. And spoiler alert, it's pretty dang good. And here we are, folks, just backing in. Boom! So now it's time to reveal the fuel economy. Let's see how we did. There we are, trip one. We did 1,653.7 kilometers, 146 electric, which feels pretty good, and 6.9 liters per 100. And I'll remind you, this was mostly highway driving, but I wasn't trying at all to get good fuel economy. I was running the speed limit plus 5-10 miles per hour basically all the time. And this was also all around downtown Pittsburgh, so it's not just highway driving. That is a pretty dang good number for not having to try it all to get it. Well, folks, we've come to the end of this one, and 1,600 kilometers later, I have to say, this Maverick Hybrid Lariat has been a great road trip mobile, and most importantly, easy to drive in the city and amazing fuel economy. And that's what you want out of a compact truck. So, folks, that's it for this one. Now, please go below, let me know what you think of the Maverick Hybrid. As always, leave a comment, hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member of the channel, and then come right back here to Truck King to see what we're testing next. See ya.